Hey guys, I'm standing beside my 5th tractor. That's right, I wasted $30,000 buying 4 of the wrong tractors. I'm sure I'm not the only one. A lot of people don't know what questions to ask themselves when it comes to buying that perfect property for the Pacific Northwest. Hint, hint, it was the size. And size truly does matter when it comes to buying that perfect tractor. In this video, we're gonna be asking some good questions like, how big of a property do you have? How many acres is it? What implements are you needing and special tasks you're gonna be doing with that tractor? Grab a pen and a piece of paper. You're gonna wanna write this stuff down. So I'm gonna go over some of these questions with you guys, and hopefully that's gonna lead you to getting the right tractor. And I want you guys to design this backwards, okay? I want you guys to figure out your tasks. Then I want you to figure out the implements and accessories to complete those tasks. In other words, if you're gonna be mowing a field, you're gonna look at the size of the field. So you're gonna go brush hog, size of field, horsepower and size needed, tractor. And you're gonna do that with every one of those tasks, okay? Rototiller, size of field you wanna till, size of area you want to disc, size of area you want to cultipack, size of horsepower needed, okay? So design it backwards, and then you're gonna get to your right tractor. And here's some of the questions that I'm gonna ask you guys, okay? The number one thing, property size. How big is the property that you're purchasing? In other words, how many acres is it? That's gonna have a lot to do with the size of tractor you purchase. That size of tractor is going to make all of these individual jobs more efficient for you. That's the whole reason why you're buying a tractor that's likely more expensive than your sedan. Now, the next thing I'm gonna be asking, property type. Is it undulating? Are you on a lot of ridges and haulers and things like that? Is it flat, usable ground? Is it a tree farm like what I live on? Figure out your property type. And then from there, figure out the tasks on that property to then find the tractor you're gonna want. One of the next biggest questions I ask people, what's the status of the land? Is it raw land or is it improved land? If it's raw land, you're gonna need one heck of a big tractor to do things like cutting in roads, doing some light logging, grading areas for build sites and lean-tos. You're gonna be putting in fences, so you're gonna be post hole digging. Grading, which I already mentioned, is going to take a lot of horsepower depending on what you're gonna be doing. And at some point, it may be better to just get an excavator or a dozer and do some of that work with that. So think about raw land equals bigger tractor. Now, if it's already improved land, you're gonna be just maintaining what you have. So things like brush hogging, keeping pastures mowed, doing some light fence work, spraying for weeds. You're gonna be grading an already improved driveway, which means you're not gonna need a tractor as big as if you were improving it yourself. Next up, lifting, pulling, and that relationship to horsepower. I don't talk a lot about horsepower because I think size is more important than horsepower. And ironically, you can have too much horsepower and not enough size and weight. You essentially overuse your horsepower, you're just spinning your tractor and you're not going anywhere. Low horsepower tractors will blow your mind on how much they can pull if they themselves are heavy enough to use that horsepower. So make sure that that tractor is actually big and heavy enough to utilize all that horsepower that's under the hood. And I'm gonna go over that with the tractor I'm sitting on. I'm gonna tell you why I bought this specific tractor, but just keep that in mind. Now, lifting also correlates with size. Lifting capacity is everything on a tractor. And it's one of the biggest things people overlook. They say, okay, you know, Kubota 3302 can lift 1,000 pounds. Well, that sounds like a lot. But if the bucket already weighs 300 pounds, then you're down to 700 pounds. And then you fill that bucket full of 5/8 minus rock, you are pushing the capabilities of that tractor. And if you're at all elevated and you're on a ridge or you're on a hill and your bucket's up a little bit too high, you could easily tip your tractor, or worse, pull your tractor forward and get really hurt. So make sure that the lift capacity coincides with what you need to lift, but also works for the weight of your tractor or the counterbalance you've set up on your tractor. Next, I want to take a minute and let you know that I specialize in rural real estate out here in Southwest Washington. In fact, we were number 7 in the entire nation last year for most country homes sold. If you guys want more info about buying or selling, call me on my personal cell phone, 360-612-2079. I'm happy to find you that perfect place, then that perfect tractor. All right, let's go. Next up, implements. What items are you actually going to be putting on this tractor? Implements are things like brush hogs, discs, post hole diggers, front grapples, forks, buckets. It's everything you can add to a tractor. Again, I want you guys to design backwards. I want you guys to say, okay, we need to brush hog or we need to flail mow 25 acres. Okay, what size of flail mower do we need? We need a 7-foot wide flail mower. Okay, what grade of flail mower? Are we going commercial, light industrial, home use? All of those things are going to have an effect on your PTO horsepower. And a lot of PTO horsepower, especially in the subcompact and compact size tractors, won't actually run implements that large. Then you're going to spend 2 days mowing your field when you could get it done in a few hours if you just bought the right tractor. So think about the implements you're going to need and make sure you design your tractor around those implements. If you're using a front grapple, you're going to want to get your tractor front plumbed for hydraulics. Now, yes, you can do this after the fact, but just be aware that it costs more money and you're likely better to buy it used already on a tractor if you're purchasing used or new. A lot of the times the dealers will cut you a break on things like that if you're buying a brand new tractor from them. Special and unique tasks. This one's going to be really personal, guys. We want you to think about what unique things you need to do with your tractor. Do you need to lift 1,000 pounds of pavers out of a truck every few weeks because you own a landscaping company? Are you going to be needing to lift round bills to feed your cattle? All of those things require a lot of lift capacity. You can see I'm going a lot into lift capacity because every tractor I've bought except for this one, I've either tipped or I've put forward or I felt like I was going to tip. It gets scary if you're over extending the lift capacity of a tractor. Now, think about other considerations, okay? Other specialty things with your property. Is it really hilly? Is there a lot of haulers and ridges? If so, you want a nice wide stance. And you can always improve the stance of a tractor after the fact, but it's better to buy it out of the box nice and wide so you don't tip it over. You want something that's stable. If you don't feel comfortable on it, you're not going to use it. Other things like tight spaces. So if you're in a tight space, if you're having to get into barn stalls and things like that that are tight, if you have small little areas that you need tight turning radius on, just keep that in mind. Again, if you get too small, you're not going to actually be able to use that tractor for anything. So just make sure that you can get into spaces that you're planning to get into with the size of tractor that you purchase. Another big thing, going back to horsepower, but it also has a lot to do with special uses and activities. If you're doing any type of hang or heavy duty agriculture work and you're using big horsepower hungry items like hang equipment, balers, rakes, things like that, really look at the amount of horsepower those things use and oversize them. I've seen a lot of people put way too much stress on their tractor trying to do field and hay work. Upgrades and accessories. And we're going to do a full walkthrough of our upgrades and accessories. But upgrades and accessories are basically how do you customize the tractor to your needs and what you want. My tractor has a ton of different upgrades. Some of them are kind of cheesy. Some of them I'll get laughed at for. But trust me, guys, it makes things so much easier to actually customize your tractor. It's like anything in life. The best athletes in the world customize their Formula One cars. They customize how they tie up their skates. Same thing on a tractor, same thing on equipment. Customize it to your liking. You're going to be the one using it. So really think about how you can customize it. I'll give you guys some quick things. Work lights, front hydraulics, saw hulls for chainsaws, rear ballast weight tires, canopies, what I'm under right now. All of these things are just little accessories that you're going to want, and I'm going to go over those one by one here in a minute. Tractors are a man's best friend, and I would highly encourage you to budget appropriately when you purchase a country property to buy a tractor. Diesel fuel and hydraulics truly make the world go around. So I've been teasing you guys this whole time on what I think the ultimate tractor setup is. It's my personal tractor. It's the accessories and the features that I think are worth the bucks. If you're interested in that video, watch it right here. Also, if you're curious about buying or selling real estate out here in Southwest Washington, call me on my personal cell phone, 360-612-2079. We'll hook you up with the perfect house and then we'll make sure you get the perfect tractor.